judiciary is the last hope of the common man. So welcome back from Common Man Tribunal. Now we head to Common Man Supreme Court. We become See, my friends, there is no need to be angry or mourn over tribunal judgments. If what you are truly fighting for is a better Nigeria, if in your heart what you are fighting for is a better Nigeria, and you are not just seeking for an opportunity for your own person to be there, so you also benefit from corruption, then relax, rejoice. Be grateful to yourself for standing by your convictions, because posterity will judge you fairly. Indeed. Look, it is we Nigerians that try to say, oh, the judiciary is the last hope of the common man, and rightly so, because that is what it should be. But over time, what we have seen is not so. This judiciary can as best be described as the last hope of the uncommon man. Look, power must come from the people. Power is for the people. And any power that is gotten outside the people will become your own albatross. Wonderful. Any power gotten without the people will eventually become your own undoing. Because the time that you should spend to use the power from the people to enhance the life of the people would rather be spent in trying to consolidate your own power. And at the end, you would lose it. Because power is transient. Look, the persons who are rejoicing over today's court judgment tomorrow might begin to be the ones who would mourn over the same judgment or a judgment from the same judiciary. Definitely. Why? Because we have not been able to build institutions that dispense justice for the state and not for statesmen. Where no one particular person becomes beneficiary of judgments, but rather the country and the rule of law is what is upheld at every time. Wonderful. Look, I love this country. Yeah, I am very pro-Nigerian, and I believe that Nigeria will be great. Amen. But Nigeria will be great because Nigeria has you and me. And it will not come on a platter. It will take work. It will take effort and resilience. And we must continue. But we do not seem to be very good students of history. And if you do not take cognizance of your history, you may not know how to head to where you are headed. Definitely. What we have in Nigeria today may not necessarily be a judicial arm of government. Listen, the judiciary is an independent arm of government in a democracy. They are nominated by the executives, confirmed by the legislatives, and they function independently of the interference of the first two. Because they are coordinates and they are not subordinates to any other arm of government. But what we have seen over time can as best be described not as a judicial arm of government, but rather the legal arm of any government in power. Shed more light, sir. The legal department of any government in any party in power. And that is why the capacity they have is dispensing justice for the persons in power. Wonderful. There is a track record to it. Okay. General Muhammadu Buhari contested to be Nigeria's president 4 times. 2003, 7, 11, and 15, when he eventually won. Every time he lost elections, he went to court. And at all the times, the court threw out his petition and upheld the mandate of the person in power, no matter how flawed the elections were. In fact, in 2007, the late President Yaradua, God rest his soul, even admitted that the elections that brought him and the then Vice President Jonathan to power were fundamentally flawed. But however, the court upheld his judgment. Fast forward to 2015, President Jonathan decided on his own that he would not interfere, so to say, in the elections. Whatever is the outcome, he will accept. He lost that election to the opposition. He considered defeat and exceeded the stage. President Buhari was a beneficiary of that elections that were seemingly free and credible. Now, fast forward to 2019. President Buhari, who was a beneficiary of his seemingly credible elections, decided to now conducted his own general elections. Then you now saw the electioneering gymnastics. The loser of that elections, Atiku Abubakar, went to court, a tribunal appeal, Supreme Court. His petition was thrown out, and the same common person court upheld the judgment or the elections of President Buhari. Now, when President Buhari lost in court in those days, some people mourned, some rejoiced. In 2019, Those who supported Buhari or who support the APC rejoice. Those who support Atiku and the rest, they mourn. But what you would notice is that gradually, as we move from the beginning of this Fourth Republic from 1999 till now, the scope and the extent of the persons who are rejoicing over the court judgments are beginning to shrink.
Yes.
And those who are mourning seem to be more.
Yes.
Why is it so? Because gradually, the arm of justice and governance, incompetence in governance is touching everyone. And people are now beginning to pay attention to the fact that if this mandate did not come from us, why is the ruling or the verdict of the court proving otherwise? That is why you will note that the persons who rejoiced over Buhari's re-election in 2019 were fewer than those who rejoiced when he was first elected in 2015.
Yes,
because at that point, 4 years was enough for the arm of incompetence to touch a lot of persons. So even those who were to support had started withdrawing.
Yes.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Now, fast forward to 2023. Another judgment has been given that upheld the elections or the mandate of the person in power. Some persons are rejoicing, some are mourning. But there will be no need to mourn, because if you notice, the scope of persons who are mourning has still widened.
Yes.
And in fact, for the case of this government, if you look at it critically, it will be an unpopular government, because those who voted against you are more than those who voted for you. However you decide to look at it, whether literally or logically. So as we continue to move further, we will begin to see that the persons who continue to mourn or who have been mourning continue to increase until they have the capacity. They will be the ones who will effect the change that they need to see.
Wonderful.
Look, it is not because they are not good people in the judiciary. They are noble men of integrity. What will eventually happen will be a coming together of this group of persons who are mourning. Because even those of you who rejoiced over the formal ones, a time is coming where you too will also mourn. So, but ensure that what will bring you together is not the greed and struggle of just hijacking power for its sake, but that you want to use it for the betterment of the nation. If not, you too would also meet a brick wall.
Definitely.
Nigeria will do the right thing after doing every other thing. A time is coming where we will all have to confront our skeletons. The ghost of the past is now haunting everybody, because fewer and fewer persons are now having the appetite for inconsistencies and irregularities. No matter what the tribunal tells you and me today, it does not change my personal experience when I went to vote. I voted in a polling unit. I saw what happened. I saw how the elections went. So what you say in court does not change my own personal experience. So now we must all come together and harness how to build institutions that are capable to stand for the states and not for statesmen. There have been an incredible abuse of the legal profession. And if you want to look at a clear textbook definition, look at the Nigerian Bar Association. You saw their last conference now. In fact, in 2020, the Attorney General of the Federation under President Buhari was the person who swore in a party ESCO, APC ESCO that was sworn in, caretaker ESCO, inside Federal Executive Council chambers, was sworn in by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice of the Federation. A bastardization of a profession. But there are good people there. And it will take the coming together of a majority. So do not fret. Do not begin to feel despondent or begin to despair. You did not lose anything. It is Nigeria that continues to suffer. But I know it is painful because it also has a human toll. People who will die as a result of government incompetence. But it should not break you. Let us continue to regroup, re-strategize, begin to think how this can be better, because it will actually take more work. Whenever you meet something that looks like a setback, step back, realign yourself, and continue to forge ahead. Just like the American abolitionist Harriet Tubman said in her poem, or in her philosophy. She said, when you hear the dogs, keep going. When you see the shout, when you see the torches in the woods, keep going. When you hear the shouting at you, keep going. Don't ever stop, because for you to taste freedom, you have to keep going. God bless Nigeria. Keep going.